Thoughts on Humanity, Fame, and Love by Shah Rukh Khan. The future you has to be a you that loves, otherwise it will cease to flourish. It will perish in its own self-absorption, said SRK. Not only is Shah Rukh Khan one of the best actors and the biggest superstars in the country, he is also a wise man whose eloquence and wit is at a very high level. Recently, the Raees actor delivered a TED Talk in Vancouver, which was filled with insights and life lessons that only a multi-millionaire superstar can give. In case you have not yet seen the video, you can find it at the end of this article. For whatever reason, here's a quick recap of some of the most pertinent points. Adaptability is necessary for a human being to survive. I truly believe that humanity is a lot like me. It's an aging movie star grappling with all the newness around oneself, wondering whether it got right in the first place and still trying to find a way to keep on shining regardless, said SRK in the first couple of minutes of the talk. Difficult moments can be your biggest teacher. I do remember the night my father died, and I remember the driver of a neighbor who was driving us to the hospital. He mumbled something about dead people don't tip so well and walked away into the dark, and I was only 14 then. I put my father's dead body in the back seat of the car and my mother beside me. I started driving back from the hospital to the house, and in the middle of a quiet crying, my mother looked at me and she said, "Son, when did you learn to drive?" And I thought about it and realized I said to my mom, "Just now, Mom," said SRK. Don't pay attention to the bile spewed by some people. 4 years ago, my lovely wife Gauri and me decided to have a third child. It was claimed on the net that he was the love child of her first child, Aryan, who was 15 years old, SRK said. A horrific accusation worth condemning, but then the superstar shows how one mustn't pay attention to such ludicrous stuff. Love triumphs all. I've learned that from these people that neither power nor poverty can make your life more magical or less torturous. I've learned from the people of my country that the dignity of a life, a human being, a culture, a religion, a country actually resides in its ability for grace and compassion. I've learned that whatever moves you, whatever urges you to create, to build, whatever keeps you from failing, whatever helps you survive is perhaps the oldest and the simplest emotion known to mankind, and that is love. A mystic poet from my land famously wrote, which loosely translates into all the books of knowledge that you might read and then go ahead and impart your knowledge through innovation, through creativity, through technology, but mankind will never be wiser about its future unless it is coupled with a sense of love and compassion for the fellow being, SRK said. The future you has to be a you that loves, otherwise it will cease to flourish. It will perish in its own self-absorption, he added. It is probably facile to offer intellectual reasons to explain Khan's longevity in the film industry. Millions of people unambiguously love the actor to the point that public adulation for him is often dismissed as cringeworthy celebrity worship. But why is Khan worshipped and loved so much? Much like his films, the answer is romantic and sentimental. Khan has always expressed and represented the best that India and the South Asian subcontinent can be. He shows us a glimpse of a prosperous, plural, and humane region, one that can laugh at itself without the inflamed nostrils of pious outrage. For millions of Indians, he also remains the poster child of the country's story of economic growth. In the 1990s, Khan debuted on our screens at the same time as India arrived on the global economy scene, and his stature grew with a growing economy. As part of a series of market reforms, the country opened the telecom sector to foreign investment, which allowed new media networks to broadcast in India. These channels ensured Khan's films, songs, and interviews reached more homes than any film celebrity before him. As India liberalized its economy further, new sodas and cars suddenly entered the market and partnered with Khan as their brand ambassador. In that sense, Khan's meteoric rise from a humble Delhi family to global celebrity is the penultimate neoliberal fairy tale of success in India, an example of how to make it to the top without any film lineage or connections to prop him up. Khan's stature grew with a growing economy. With the rise of the religious right, Khan has also become a shorthand for a progressive plural past that many Indians are trying to hold on to. Most importantly, the actor has always depicted the fragility we all share as human beings. Khan usually portrays fragile figures: the fragile lover, the fragile hero, the fragile husband, the fragile Muslim, and even the fragile villain. The men he plays are rarely at ease with themselves and those around him. The insecurities that bother his screen characters have evolved through the progress of his career, spanning 3 decades. They are often emotionally destitute, unable to feel fully loved, and unwilling to let go of their need to find love. Khan is also South Asia's romantic superhero. His films are the standard that all Desi romances attempt to match up to. Data shows that his character engages with women much more than the roles played by other Bollywood male stars. But the love Khan's characters seek is not only the traditional love of a woman, they desperately seek the love and approval of fathers, friends, and fellow countrymen. The men he plays feel deeply, are constantly vulnerable to the gaze of the other, and shed many, many, many tears. Film writers often comment on how Khan can cry better than most actors in the world. These teary-eyed displays of humanity have only endeared him to countless fans. Beyond the movies, his television interviews and public lectures have amplified his humor and humility. I know many elite urban fans who obsess over Khan's interviews more than his films. These media conversations mark the actor's best performance till date. His version of the unapologetic middle-class superstar, Khan has crafted a deliciously arrogant and poised public persona, forever seducing us with moments of self-disclosure, followed by self-depreciating intellect and bitter sarcasm. Chain-smoking, brazen, self-aware, and hilarious, Khan is never boring. He goes from offering sound advice on dealing with financial insecurities and troubled friendships to cracking hilarious jokes about aging in the film industry and his own sexuality. In all his quotes and jokes about himself and the world, there is always the hint of a man who works hard, cares deeply for his craft, and enjoys laughing at himself. After a hiatus, the actor has 3 big releases lined up for 2023. His fans are giddy with excitement, but they are also wary of right-wing social media campaigns that advocate the boycott of Muslim icons and Bollywood releases. As our politics become deeply divisive, the actor's power lies in how he can unite so many of us in smiles and stories. I cannot wait for the next 30 years of this icon. Our broken culture desperately needs his wary jokes and wide open arms.